Hello and welcome to the Cheers Registry Training Series. In this video, we will be giving an overview of site details. So when you first log in, you'll be taken to the Sites tab. And so to access the site details, you'll want to locate the particular site that you want to work with, and then just click on that row, and that will open up site details. So if we start here at the top, to the left-hand side, we can see that we list the site address for that particular site. If we move over here to the right, we have three buttons that perform different actions. We have our project status report button. Clicking on this will generate the project status report for this particular site. We have our print all documents button. This will create a PDF of all of the completed documents. And then we have our send docs or send documents button. This will allow you to email the documents for this site to a user or users. The next row that we have is our CF3R category. So these are for your verifications, and this is where all of the CF3R documents are stored. Now, when you first come into a project, you may not see the CF3R section here. This section will only populate once a CF2R that has a corresponding CF3R has been signed, and that CF3R is now available for the user to access and enter their data. So you may come in and all you'll see is CF1R category or the CF1R and CF2R categories, and then this final CF3R category won't show up until a document is ready to be completed. So we ordered them in this way because the general process is that the CF1R is going to be completed first, and then the CF2Rs are going to be completed, and then the CF3Rs. So we put the most recently required documents at the top so that you don't always, to do your 3Rs, you don't have to scroll all the way down to the bottom here and then work on your CF3Rs. So we put those at the top. So next we have our CF2R section and then our CF1R section. So let's talk a little bit about what we have in each of these sections. So in these we have a couple of different buttons available, and so we look in here in the CF3Rs, and they're going to be the same in all of the different categories. So green indicates that the document is complete. It's been responsible signed, and there's nothing else that you need to do with that document. Clicking on it will open it up so you can view it if you would like, but it is locked down and there's nothing you can do other than view that document. If you want to access the PDF of that document, you have the PDF print button here to the left. Documents obviously that have not been started or have not been signed will not have that PDF. Once it's signed, then that PDF button will be available. Clicking on the blue icon, which means that it is either not started or not signed. Not signed indicates that the document's been started. Someone has input data on it, but it has not been responsible signed. So that's going to be your blue icons. Clicking on the button here will open the form so that you can then complete your data input and sign that document. The icon here to the right, this will open up the assignment tool. So you can assign at either a document level, or we have our assign icon here that will assign all of the documents in that particular category. I'm not going to go into much detail here. We do have a form assignments video where I'm going to go cover all that process in detail. So if you want to know how to assign, go ahead and watch that video for that information. So I'm going to move down here to our next section. The next section that we have available, we do have, again, we can see these are completed. We have our print PDF icon and button here to the left, and to the right here we see that we've got a lock. So this is our replace feature. So if this document's been signed and you want to unsign that document because it needs to be replaced, you can go ahead and click on this icon here. It will bring up a pop-up asking if you're sure that you want to replace it. You click on yes, and it will then remove the signature from that. So I'm going to go ahead, I'll click on this one. Here's our little question, are you sure? Yes. And so it's now going to remove that signature. It's going to put it into that not signed status. And now we have another new icon. So this icon is our delete icon. So I've not only unsigned it, I can also now delete any of the data that has been previously entered and take it back to a not started state. So these are all, it's all similar functionality to what we've had, just a little bit different icons and locations. So all of those are there and are available for you to take advantage of. If we move down here to our, the other thing that you might notice is what I unsigned in this MEC 23. That MEC 23 3R disappeared, so they'll only show up on this list if it has been signed and is available for that data to be input. And the same thing here, we can have our PDF to access it. We have, if it's a prescriptive form, you can access a form to review it, and then if you need to replace it, you can replace it there. So we'll move down to the next section. So when you create a site, depending on the site, you'll provide different types of information. Some information we can pull from, say, a performance file, if it's a performance alteration, a custom home, or a residential new construction site. Other ones you need to provide that information, whether it's on the Alto 2. For this example here, we collect a lot of this data on the Alto 2. Or you may need to do it when you create a community site. But whatever, this data is going to live right here. And so this data, if it's collected, it's going to show up. If it's not, like the homeowner name, that information wasn't entered, so it's going to show up and it's going to let you know that this is where that information would go, and you can enter it at any time. If it's there and you can click on it and you can say, well, I want to rename this to just test. As soon as you either tab to the next item, or you click on a blank part of the screen, or you click on a different section of the data, it's going to update. And you can see up here, we have this little banner here that kind of lets you know that whatever the last action you took has been done. If this is red, it's going to give you an error. If you get an error, take a screenshot, send it off to our admin support email and let us know you're getting that error. That error will help us to narrow down exactly what's going on so we can look in the system, correct it, and then get you fixed up and moving forward. If you want this to go away, you can click anywhere on this and it will go away. And now because I clicked somewhere else on the form, you can see that my site address was updated, and so it's going to let me know, hey, your site address was updated. If I click on it, again, it's going to go away. I can come back down here and say, nope, I didn't want to do that. I want to enter that in, and this time I'm going to tab, so I'll just tab to the next one. And again, site address was updated. You can just continue. You can leave this green bar at the top. It'll eventually go away, or if you want it to go away because it's bugging you, just go ahead and click on it and it goes away. If you need to enter information that's just new, say I haven't entered this yet, I'm going to just enter in the username. And again, if your browser allows for where it remembers previous entries, sometimes that can help you. Probably not under the homeowner name, but in different sections, either on the forms or whatnot. That's always a useful tool to help you do that. But again, I entered it in, I selected it, and then here's my update. The other item that you can do here is you can delete the site. So if this button is available, it'll allow you to delete it. Once you click on it, it's going to give you a little confirmation. It's going to say, are you sure you want to delete this site? Because if you do, it goes away and we can't bring it back. You're going to have to start from scratch and start all over again. So make sure that if you delete the site that you really want to delete it, because it's going to go away. The last thing that I'm going to mention in this section here is what we call our form management tool. Now, there are certain forms that exist that we need some user feedback to let us know whether or not that form is applicable to the particular site. So we have put all of that functionality here in our form management. So we click down, you can see that we have a list available of different actions that will affect different forms. So what we've done is we default to have the LTG01 be displayed. If you don't want that displayed because it doesn't apply, there was no lighting as part of it, just come in here, check that box, and you will indicate that there's no lighting as part of this alteration or part of this particular site, and we will hide that from the list so it doesn't show up for you to try and complete, and it also won't show up on the project status report. We also have the option to not show the STH, the CF2R, STH01. Some performance plans, when they're imported, they trigger this form even though they're not supposed to. There's either some glitch or a bug or something that does that. So if that form shows up and you don't want it, again, just click on the box and it will hide it. It makes it go away. Next, we have a couple of forms that you might want to include because they are applicable, but they're not currently shown. So we have the MECO 2 for the whole house fan. We have the PLB for the pool and spa. And then we have the ENV 24 for QII. So we always show the ENV 21, 22, and 23, but this form is very specific to a type of insulation, so it's only triggered if that type of insulation is used. So this is where you would go and click the box to have that particular form show up. And then next we have some just user functionality that was requested of us. So we had some users that wanted to stop or prevent their installing contractors from selecting the weigh-in method for the MEC 25. So if you check this box, your installing contractors will not be allowed to select that from the drop-down menu, preventing them from doing that. And so you would check that box to block the use of that particular method. And then last, we had some users request to be able to trigger forms that were not required by the CF1R. So if you want to trigger the MEC 22, the MEC 23, and or the MEC 25, select one or more of the boxes, and you'll want to do this before you complete the MECO 1, because what these do is these open up that ability to, on the MECO 1, to indicate that yes, I want to have this form triggered, and then once that MECO 1 is signed, if this box has been checked, then that form will be triggered and it will show up so that you can complete it. Now, to date, these are the only forms that have been requested. If you have additional forms that you've had a jurisdiction that requires it or an above code program, let us know, reach out to us, and we'll see about adding it onto the list so that you can trigger that particular form. So once you're done, you can just click anywhere else on the page here, or you click on the drop down and it's going to leave those there. If you want to eliminate one, you can simply just click on it and it will make it go away. So the last section that we have here for site details is our membership management tool. So when a project is, or a site is first created, whoever creates that site is automatically going to be added as a member. During that site creation, if you indicate that there's a HERS rater that's part of that project, because we have that tool as you create the particular site, or if you assign a document to a user for them to either complete or sign as a responsible party, any assignments to a user that's not already a member of the project will add them as a member of the project. So as you work through it, you may not have to come down here and add any members because you've added them in your normal workflow. But if you do need to add a member, you'll come over here and you can enter either the name, and that's the person's name, the company, or the CSLB license number. Any of those will allow you to select from those users that match that particular information. So for this one, if I just type in I want to have this user, which is my user that I have for everything, and I say, okay, well, yes, I need to have him, and I need him for the insulation contractor. They need to do some work on this one. So I'm going to find whatever user I want on the list. Your list will likely be much shorter than this. Select them. They'll come up onto here, click on add, and they will be added into the site members. And so for these site members, another request that was made to us was to provide a way to for a user to access their contact information. So we have two ways in which you can contact this particular user. We have a send email button. Now this button will require your email client to allow that. It'll open an email in your email client, so whether you're using Outlook or Gmail or what have you, it will open it up and it'll place that user's email address into the address bar, and then you can type the email and send it off to them. If your email client doesn't like to work with this for whatever reason, we are going to provide both the contact information for this user. Click on the button and we will show both the email address as well as a phone number so that you can email or call that particular user. And so that's available for all the users or all the members of that particular project. So that brings us to the end of our site details. So this is just an overview. We do cover in our other videos um, how to complete and sign documents. We cover form assignments, all the other information that you might have as to what I can do within site details is covered in those videos. So take a look for those. And if you can't find what you're looking for, as always, feel free to give us a phone call, shoot us an email, and we'd be more than happy to help guide you through whatever process you're trying to accomplish. So that's the end of our site details overview. Thank you for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.